And gave some to Dr. Roman. That's right. I always think that would be by now.
Hello, everyone. If you can find a seat to get the session started. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you everyone for being here. My name is Armando. I do media communications for the UTRG Entrepreneurship and Commercialization Center, and I want to welcome you to this week's session of 1 Million Cups. Before we get started, a huge shout out, as usual, to our coffee sponsor, and that is over there. If you want to connect with him, he's an insurance broker, business owner, and a member of the eBridge Center in the second floor. You can follow up with him through the QR code or after the event. So what is 1 Million Cups? 1 Million Cups is a national program that aims to foster community building and educational experiences for a community of new and young entrepreneurs. This is to find areas of opportunities and find solutions. This community spans throughout the country. Within the national landscape, we belong to the Southwest region. Within the Southwest region, we share one or two responsibilities here in the Valley with our partners in the McAllen Chamber of Commerce. So what do? So every week we invite 2 entrepreneurs from the community. Each entrepreneur has 10 minutes to share their story, and that is followed up with a 10-minute Q&A. And there's 2 takeaways to this. One is the 1MC theory, which is that often ideas and solutions happen over a cup of coffee. And the second takeaway is that we want to see how we as a community can help you as an entrepreneur succeed. So who we are. So everything you see here from our coffee sponsors, product sponsors, speakers, presenters, volunteers, everything you see here is provided by the community for the community. This is a very communal event. And when we invite speakers over, more than just a business pitch, we want to hear their entrepreneurship. We want to hear what their journey has been about. And more than just networking, we want to make meaningful and lasting connections. As I said, it's all about community building. From day one, that same community has sponsored up 1,600 cups of coffee. If you want to pick coffee sponsor yourself or a product sponsor, reach out to us. We can make it happen. We would be happy to have you involved in any capacity. At this point, it is working hours. So if you have to make a phone call, if you have to answer a phone, please step into the lobby out of respect for our speakers. We also have phone booths around the building. And when we have speakers over here in the front, I highly encourage you to engage with the presentation, engage with what the speaker has to say. Now, I want to invite our first speaker, and that is Tammy Munoz. She's the owner of Tammy's Tasty Cuisine, and she's part of the UTRG family. Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. So my business is Tammy's Tasty Cuisine. Here's a few photos of some of the things that I bake. I have always loved being creative and extremely adventurous. So my love of cooking has really started at a very, very young age. The very first thing that my mom taught me how to make was egg and chorizo. Who doesn't love egg and chorizo, right? I was 5 when she started teaching me how to make. But I really didn't start really baking other than, cookies for Santa when I was younger, really until I was told I was pre-diabetic. Back in probably about 10 years ago, my doctor said, you know what, you're pre-diabetic and you have to make some changes. And so I said, all right. On the drive home, my husband said, when are you going to start? And I said, right now. And he said, no, last hurrah. And I said, nope. I said, we're going to start right now. And so that's really what kind of kicked it off. Within 2 months, my doctors were so impressed. I got my triglycerides under control. A1C was back to normal. And I decided that from that point on, I was just going to stick to living a diabetic lifestyle. So in doing that, I definitely missed Nestle Toll House cookies. I know some people, when they eat some of my things, they're like, don't you make crunchy cookies? And I said, no, I love Nestle Toll House cookies. So I really just stuck to my favorite. So everything I bake is always going to be something that I love. So I think that some of my biggest strengths, other than my creativity, is that most people can't tell that my desserts are sugar-free. Have you all had a chance to try some of the goodies that are over there in the back? So everything that you tried back there is actually sugar-free. I know some people are surprised. So they're either going to be sugar-free or low sugar. And the reason I say low sugar is because some of my desserts do have some of the Splenda brown sugar in them, and it's a brown sugar blend. But basically, they are really, really low sugar or completely sugar-free. I do 3 types of baked goods. I do gluten-free. Now, for people who have celiac disease, I do tell them I do have a gluten kitchen. So if somebody has celiac or is severely allergic to gluten, I don't recommend that they do eat my goods, because as much as I try to have a really, really clean environment and wash everything in between, I would hate for somebody to have an allergic reaction or get really sick from it. So I'll do either gluten-free, low carb. Anything that I do bake that is low carb is made with almond and coconut flour. Or I do full gluten, which is all-purpose flour. So everything in the back does have full gluten in there. And if you haven't tried it yet, please go ahead and try. So some of my biggest highlights after is actually when I see the kids really enjoy my desserts. I had this one little boy come by and try one of my brownies. I have a gluten-free brownie that's really fudgy. And it was right after an autism walk. And it's the coolest thing, but he tasted it and he said, "Whoa, Mama, this is delicious." And I about cried. And my husband said, "You need to rename those brownies and call them Whoa Mama brownies." And I'm actually considering that. So I really, really love to see kids eat my desserts, because if the kids like them, then I know the adults will like them too. So every time I do sell at the farmer's market, I always give samples. And I also don't mind hugs from my customers, especially those who have been diabetic for a really long time and have missed some of these staples. What do we do in our community when we want to gather and with family? We eat and we enjoy food, and then we enjoy the desserts. Everybody looks forward to the dessert afterwards, right? So I really, really enjoy being able, and those are my highlights, is when I interact with my customers and I interact with people who really have missed some of these good tasting desserts. And I used to want to be a physician, actually. I still dabble in the field. I work within the field. But I remember them asking me early on, "Why do you want to be a physician?" And I said, "I just want to help people. That's all I want to do." My life took me in a different direction. So when I was 21, I had kidney failure. And I remember probably, I guess it was 2018, I found out that my kidneys are failing again. So 25 years after my initial kidney failure, my doctors told me that I was pretty much dying. My function was about 19%. And I decided that I was going to just push through. So a year prior was actually when I started my business in 2018. And I did that because I would share my desserts with my students at the university, because I would bake, and I mean, I have a sweet tooth, but it's not crazy sweet. So they kept telling me, "Miss Tammy, you really need to sell your cookies." And I was like, "Nobody's gonna buy my cookies." And after probably about 5 or 6 months of them telling me, "Miss Tammy, you really need to sell your cookies," I'm like, "Nobody's gonna buy them." And I decided, okay, let me try it. Started doing really well. Everything slowed down when COVID happened, but I still kept it going. 2021, I got on the transplant list. 2022, thank God I got a transplant. But it took a couple years for my doctors to finally say, "Hey, you can start baking it or start being around people." I kept baking, but not to a large capacity. But all I ever want to do is still help people. So I bake thinking of my grandmother. My grandmother was diabetic, and I used to take care of her, and I used to inject her twice a day with insulin. And I would call my family, call every single aunt when I would find cakes, birthday cakes and cakes inside of her refrigerator. And I know that when I bake, I still feel her. I feel her presence. She was always in her kitchen. And I bake because I know that she would have liked what I do. And she always wanted her sweets with her cafecito. She would dip her cookies inside of her coffee every single morning and every single evening before bed. So even though I did selfishly try to start making these cookies for myself, I now continue even through my revamped kidney failure, my kidney transplant. I now bake for others. It's not even just for me. I bake because I just love serving people. I tell my husband all the time, my love language is cooking and baking for others. That's how my grandma was. My grandma was one of those women that nobody was a stranger. She trusted everybody. Good thing back then, now, we have to be a little careful, but she just loved everybody. Even if an insurance salesman would walk through the door, she'd open up the door, and she always had fresh tortillas, beans, and rice on the stove. And she would invite you in, and she'd say, "Are you hungry?" And they didn't say something, well, no, it was offending to her if you didn't eat, right? And my cousin Lori remembers that, my grandma's rice and beans. And they were delicious. And she always baked with love. And she always was so welcoming. And that's why when I bake and I am at the farmers markets and I always have samples so that people can try. And I bake because I remember how welcoming she was, and food brings people together. So I bake because I know I'm making a difference in people's lives, and I want to change that stigma of people thinking that healthier food is not good. So what I want to do is I want to change that stigma. I want anybody to be able to enjoy the food. I also really want to bake for diabetic children. I want to be that person that even not just the parents of the diabetic child, but the parents of the friends of the diabetic child to take healthier cupcakes or cakes to a school, because the diabetic children are pretty much left out. And I want to be that person that is able to bake and everybody likes, not just the diabetic child, because that's all that they have. I want it to taste good. So then I know I said this, I say this, but I really feel that my life was saved. I got my kidney transplant, by the way, in only 4 months after being on the transplant list. So I know I'm still here for a reason, and I know I'm here to continue to help others. So how do I feel that the community can help? So ultimately, because I'm at the farmer's market and I go to the local vendor events, I would hope that our city can help promote these small businesses, not just mine, but everybody's small business a little bit better, so that the community is more aware of what we have and what we do. Our customers can also be a huge voice for us. I know a lot of people only post reviews when they have a bad experience. But believe it or not, we all need these good reviews, all of us. So I would hope that our community could be a little bit more helpful with that. And then ultimately, I really hope that our city at some point can have shared commercial kitchens, so that way small businesses would be able to do that. So I just really want to thank you for your time, and I really hope that you love what I baked. And I'm happy to speak to you all afterwards. And I've got some business cards too that I could share. So just let me know if you have any questions.
Well, I commend you. I think that you're doing a great thing, especially wanting to help children with diabetes. And I myself, medical reasons, don't eat a lot of sugar or try to avoid it. But I do get that sweet tooth, so I understand what you're doing, and you have a big part because of how way you're doing it, wanting to help people. But I don't have any major question. I think my major question was, where do you buy it? And you're at the Brownsville Farmers Market?
Yes.
Any other way, any other outlets or any other way to buy it?
So I did have a comment on there. I actually don't want a storefront, believe it or not. But I do bake out of my house. So I do take special orders. If we can just go back, I guess, to the very beginning, right? So you see this right here. So this is This is actually some of the pies that I do for Thanksgiving and for Christmas, and those are special order. I do cakes as well, so I do have things that I will bake that are on my Facebook page and Instagram. And my business cards do have my Instagram and Facebook page on there, so I have QR codes. Make cinnamon rolls. I have a menu on there on my Instagram as well that's pinned that has everything that I bake and what is special order. So I do have customers that do come and pick up at the house. I am normally at farmers market. At the Brownsville Farmers Market is typically where I normally am. I haven't been at the market in about a month because I broke my hand. And so I'm hoping to come back later this month after it's fully healed. So I'm not able to bake in large capacity like I normally do. And so that's typically where I can be found. My goal ultimately, I guess my dream, is actually to be like at HEB or Central Market to have some of my things. But I am hoping to make a commercial kitchen within the next couple of years when we build our new house. And at that point, I will also continue to bake to order and have just like a little storefront there in our kitchen, and then have pickup as well. Healthier desserts and the sweeteners and everything is really expensive. So I don't want a storefront where my items are going to sit for a long time, because I really like everything to be fresh. So
Your Instagram is low carb.
it's low-carb_Tammy's Tasty Cuisine. So yeah, and I've got cards, so I can give them out. Any other questions? Yes.
I would say your dream should be your plan. What you need to do is find out what the gap is from you, where you are now, to actually being in HEB, because HEB has a gap needed to be filled with this particular product. And ascertaining your shelf life, ascertaining, how long can you put it there, what's the price point you can make, and don't be afraid to talk with HEB administration to get some feedback on what you're doing. And then the second step is keep going back and biting their ankles.
Yeah, so I want to join. Every spring they have like a contest for small businesses, and that's kind of where I want to head towards. I'm not ready to scale it up yet, because since I work at the university still, and because of my kidney issues, I want to be able to retire, and it won't be that long. I'm already looking forward to retirement, and then I'll be able to keep my benefits and still.
So that scalability needs to be established in building your business plan and what it's going to take.
Yes, and that's one of the things that I do need help with, because I'm not a business person. So I'm actually have a science background and a research background, and believe it or not, for those of you that are very young, and research actually really helped me develop my skills to bake. I remember the first researcher that I started with almost 20 years ago. He asked me, he says, "Can you cook?" And I said, "Oh yeah." He goes, "But can you cook by recipe?" And I thought, oh my God, my ancestors helped me cook all the time. But I can't. Fortunately, I am able to bake by recipe. And that really helped me develop my skills and for being able to cook and bake. But that's one of the things, is I'm not a business person, so I'm doing this kind of on the fly. Yes.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
You mentioned you're at the farmer's market. What challenges have you encountered introducing a healthy product to people that are usually not, one, interested in eating healthier, or two, that don't know about the importance of eating healthy? And the second question to you is, can you share to us some advice on the people that are considering joining the farmer's market?
So the best way for me was good for us in terms of getting others to try my food, or because my sign says healthier desserts, I feel a lot of people want to just walk by. I'm like, oh, it's healthy, it's not going to be good. But I literally have samples of everything that I bake on purpose. And I tell people, like, what do you have to lose? It's right here. Samples are free. And try it. You know, if you like it, then you buy it, you know, if you want to. And if you don't, then that's fine. I mean, everybody has different tastes. But fortunately, getting samples has been a huge way for us to be successful. Because once they try it, I also don't have any problems when the kids are walking by and be like, hey, here's a cookie. And because when the cookie, it's funny when the parents are trying to like make them like leave, and then the kids are like dragging their parents back, and so it's pretty fun to see that. Joining the farmers market isn't as easy as it used to be. It's for me to come back into the farmers market after my transplant took about 7 months. I didn't stop trying. I mean, when you want to have your business and you want to put it out there in the community to try it, can't give up. And I literally would like go to their office and be like, what's going on? When are you going to tell me? Yeah, like, tell me, am I going to come back or not? And I was very persistent. So my statement to you is that if you want to get in the farmer's market, keep trying. So that you can get in, because once you're there up on Saturday morning, so I can't make it all the way to McAllen, bake for, and in the afternoons, the evenings. Normally these places are going to be closed. So we really need something in Brownsville to help our local community and small businesses to be able to grow their businesses. So I think that would be really important for the city to have something like that.
Adding to that, the way commercial kitchens do her goods for Saturday morning, she'll probably have to like make them like either Thursday or Friday. And I think the least amount of hours you can run the commercial kitchen is to work. So you have to clean an hour before and then an hour after 4 hours. That's actually like 6 hours. So in a day, you can probably get like 1 or 2 people that actually use the kitchen. So it's very limited to what you can actually use it, what you can actually get in. And in correction to what you mentioned, the farmers market is not the one making the commercial kitchen. It's actually Brownsville's Coalition, which is the organization in charge of the farmers market. But there will be a commercial kitchen in the cannery that.
Yes, I heard that. Yes. Yeah.
One last question. When it's gonna happen? I don't know. They keep saying November. What November? I don't know what November. Like every other building. But hopefully it's November. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, when it comes to construction, it's never the date that they say it's going to be. But, we're patient. And the Brownsville Farmers Market has really been a blessing for many, many of us. I really feel that without it, a lot of us wouldn't really still be able to continue. I mean, just having it here in the city, I think has been a beautiful thing. So I'm hoping that it'll grow, and I'm hoping that it will include a lot more things for families and kids and stuff. But yeah, I mean, we've been very, very lucky to have our farmers market. So. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Tammy, for sharing your story with us. I am a big fan of your products every Saturday. All right, our next presenter is Aaron Amado. Come up.
Did I get a timer or am I good? So good morning, everybody. My name is Aaron Trains. I've grown up here in Brownsville. I'm 22 years old today, but I've had my business for about 2 years. And a little bit about myself, I always struggled in high school with a lot of anxiety, low self-esteem, self-image was not the best going through high school. And I had seasons of a lot of depression. I couldn't be in large social areas. So just every day going to lunch, I mean, that was a struggle. And I remember some days I would just have to go to the restroom and just be away from everybody because I just couldn't stand, large crowds. And I really had no belief in myself. But I played sports my entire life. And fitness was something that was very close to my heart, something that gave me confidence whenever I was a part of a team, a part of a movement, some type of community that I could rely on that also gave me confidence. And about 2 years ago, my coworker, today I'm a personal trainer, but my coworker gave me the idea like, hey, you should start a brand, let's start something, here in Brownsville. I really don't see much, going on, growing as far as young fitness community. So she gave me the idea. I ended up doing a lot of research into what it takes to run a brand, run a business, and I started Aaron Trains Apparel. And since then, my journey has been a lot of growth, a lot of self-discovery. So it's been It's been a very impactful journey for me. But really, what I like to think about my brand is that it's not actually a tangible product. It's not this shirt right here. It's actually a feeling. It's confidence, And many of our items, they're bold, they're loud, right? Just like this red shirt. But at the same time, they're also simple and they're subtle enough to wear every day, whether it's in the gym or just lounging around at home, right? But Aaron Trains Apparel offers affordable, durable, and comfortable athletic wear for any type of active lifestyle. Today, 1 in 3 young US adults have experienced a mental illness at one point in their life. The purpose of our brand is to create a community of positivity that can promote physical and mental health. Our goal is to empower, inspire, and help people believe in themselves even when no one else will. Going through high school, I struggled a lot with this anxiety, with these low self-esteem issues. In my senior year, I began to work out in the gym, and that became my physical and mental therapy. So through our brand, we try to spread a message of not only physical fitness, but also a positive message for mental health. And just let people know, like, hey, there's a community out there of others that can relate to your story. Through my love of clothes and working out, I found my purpose and began to pursue my vision of helping my community through my apparel brand. And we hope to soon eventually collaborate with UTRGV Wellness. And eventually our end goal is to, have my own gym and my own apparel store in the same venue. But right now I'm working on getting my clothes and kind of scaling it into different gyms across the valley. So right now I'm at around 3 different gyms. But that's my brand and that's my story.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I see myself maybe starting up the gym, but I definitely see myself having a store or at least a rack of my items in gyms across the valley. Today, I have about 3 different racks in 3 local gyms here in Brownsville.
Where can we find the items? Is there a catalog?
Yeah, so I am very big on social media as far as Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat. So I do have my own online website and some links. My website is aarontrainsapparel.com, and then my Instagram is Aaron Trains Apparel. So you can go ahead and find me on Instagram, and then I have a bunch of links there as well.
So I guess, can you give like a quick example of your workout routine, or like, let's say, I pick an age?
Just like a workout routine.
Yeah, what you offer, what would it be like, let's say, a session?
Oh, okay, yeah. So as far as like personal training, I do tailor all my routines just to like my clients' goals. But typically I'll train somebody, let's say 3 to 4 times out of the week. And that'll be, 1 day cardio, depending on their goal, whether it's to gain muscle, lose weight, tone up. So it's really centered around whatever the client's goal is. So that's how I build my routines.
Thank you.
You say that you have 2 years in business, right?
Yes, sir.
So, how the business is doing right now, and what will be the next step for you?
Yes, sir. So the journey since when I started, I really had no experience, no background. So I just started with like 30 shirts, and then like within 2 weeks they were sold out. And since then I've just been scaling with different items, and it's grown. Recently it's slowed down a little bit just because I've gotten involved more with school and different things. But I would say the next step is figuring out a steady business plan, a strategy, a structure, or some type of game plan where I can have a little bit more I guess help or team members, because my biggest issue is that I'm the CEO, I'm the accountant, I'm the designer, I'm doing all these roles, but that's not sustainable, that's not stable. So my biggest issue is finding some type of partner or team that I can trust. So that's what my next step is. I'm trying to find something solid.
Or have you identified your main market, or which is the market that you are targeting?
I would say my market is kids between I want to say high school juniors and young college students. That's been my biggest market where I've seen the most success.
Vamos a hacer una pregunta en español. Si habla español, si no, aquí Armando nos traduce.
I don't. So I guess you help me.
¿Por qué piensas tú, o qué ofrece tu camisa como para que alguien se la quiera poner? Te voy a decir a qué me refiero. Fue algo muy importante que tú dijiste, que cuando te sientes parte de un equipo, o empiezas con tus amigos, o empiezas a juntarte con gente, es algo que fue bueno para tu autoestima y para tu crecimiento, ¿no? Hay mucha gente que usa una camisa porque se siente parte de algo. Hay gente que usa camisas de los Tigres, de los Rayados, de la selección, de lo que tú quieras. Como por qué la gente se va a querer poner una camisa tuya. O cuál es la idea tuya de que la gente te quiera comprar a ti y no comprar una Nike, una Adidas.
See, there's many reasons why somebody will wear a shirt. What's the reason why people want to wear your shirt?
And in addition to that, what he's trying to say is, what is your brand promise? Why would I wear Aaron Trains in regards to wearing a Nike shirt or an Adidas shirt or a Tommy Hilfiger shirt? How does your brand maybe be a part of that?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. My brand focus is to create a community. So one of my biggest messages is that I'm trying to relate physical fitness to also the struggle with mental health, especially in many young adults today. But that's why I try to, in most of my items, I try to include a message about mental health. So trying to promote the importance of that and really seeking help. But one other goal that I didn't mention is that I would like to collaborate with either behavioral institutes or some type of PTSD rehab center for veterans where I would like to donate or offer some type of help. So that's what my next goal would also be.
I have a question for you. As you can see, I'm not the healthiest of persons, people. But like me, there's thousands of people in Brownsville that, they've either stop eating healthy or they don't like to exercise, which is my case, okay? But how do you encourage someone like me to want to be like, hey, I want to be a part of that? We mentioned a lot about mental health and collaborating with other organizations, but to me, that's like, well, I gotta be labeled to be a part of a mental institution, right? But how can you encourage the thousands of Julios that are out there to become, part of your organization or be wanting to wear that shirt and feel so confident about how they feel?
That's a great question. I would say, really focusing on putting a message out there, the importance of why you need to be healthy and making that change in your life. So I would definitely focus on the fitness side of that and just, relaying that message of, hey, we got to take care of ourselves. The mind and the body are one. So you can't have one without the other. So that's what I would say.
Great. Thank you.
So your brand is described in the words you just said, your mind and body. When somebody asks you why you, because your mind and body, you're worried as much about the counseling aspects of the mind, and you're a cheerleader, and you're helping them get where they want to go, where others, they just take your money to come in and get the wins. So you are mind and body, and you need to repeat that every time somebody asks you who you are. What you do.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
A few things happening here at Cambridge and in the surrounding areas. So the Common Fast Track is coming up. The dates are to be determined, but we're aiming towards September 25th, tentative date, subjected to change. The Common Fast Track is a business development course that covers different aspects of business. It's a 7-week, once-a-week program from accounting to financing, the legal aspect of it, management, all that is covered in this Kaufman Fast Track. It's a business development course. If you're interested, follow the QR code. The program is available in both English and Spanish and will be hosted here at eBridge. It's sponsored by BCIC and facilitated by UCharge ECC. Next week on that's the wrong date. Next week on Wednesday, same time, same place, we have 1 Million Cups. If you want to be involved in any capacity as a speaker, product sponsor, coffee sponsor, reach out to us. We can make it happen. We can have a conversation. On July 25th, that's also next week, we have the Velocity TX, the 7th session on a community business development program. This session covers tax requirements. So taxing entities, tax forms, deadlines, all that is covered in the seminar, July 25th. On July 27th, that's a deadline to apply for the Frontera Leadership Program. This is a leadership business development program targeting students. So if you're a student, if you know a student that could benefit from a program such as this one, the deadline is July 27th. That's the Frontera Leadership Institute, sponsored by BCIC. Follow your code. And on August 10th, that's the deadline to apply for the Emerging Industries Startup Texas program. If you are an emerging industry, the program has a focus around science and technology, but it is open for everyone. So if you have a business, it's an up-and-coming business, and programming and financial opportunities could benefit you. Follow the QR code. That is August 10th. That's a deadline to apply for the Emerging Industries Accelerator program with financing opportunities. Now, before we put the event to an end, there's a few faces here in the crowd. We like to make the event very collaborative, it's a very community-focused event. So if you'd like to present yourself to the community, introduce yourself to the community, they're more than happy to. El evento es de comunidades, colaborativos, y si se quisieran presentar, introducirse a la comunidad, están bienvenidos. ¿Alguien se gustaría presentarse?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nabilan Saldua, and here's my coworker, Rosy Duran.
My name is Nabilan Saldua, and I'm here from IBC Bank. My coworker, Rosy Duran. At IBC, what I do is I'm part of the Treasury Management Department, which is basically the electronic banking or electronic service, online banking for commercial accounts. And Rosy Duran, my coworker, it's part of the Foreign Exchange Department. We're here just to remind you and let you know that we have euros, pesos at our branches and other currencies.
Thank you so much for your visit. Anyone else? Well, that's it. That brings the event to an end. On behalf of everyone here at eBridge, UCharge, ECC, and BCIC, thank you for coming and have a wonderful day.